Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Monday, November 25th, 2024. Let's take a look at the charts. Weekly bar chart, we satisfied the requirements for a long-term buy signal last Friday when we settled above the 337.91 channel top by a full 1% margin. And so that 1% margin, by the way, this week is 341.28. It is, if you're interested in going long through the rest of the year and through the first quarter, the beginning of your buy zone. But you could bottom pick 337.91. You'll see I have 337.70 here, and that is our down pivot for the week, and that is actually nothing more than last week's low. And so 337.7. Sorry, not last week's low, last Friday's low. Excuse me. I'll show that in a moment. Actually, I will show it right here. Might as well just show it right now. 337.70 is the low of the high. The high, obviously, 361.53 put out on Friday. And so, yes, we've got, as I showed here earlier on the weekly chart, we have the 337.91, but just low it by about 21 cents. And you've got your down pivot, actually, I think, into later week, 137. Sorry, that's a misprint. It's not 137.70, it's 337.70. So if we were to close today below 337.70, that reverses short-term momentum, and it may result in sort of a 2 to 3 week sell-off. But I think at this point in time, it means nothing more than 311.15. Within a day or two, we could test that, round back up, and yes, as long as we then close the week above the 337.91 formation, that maintains the integrity, believe it or not, of the long-term buy signal. So continued weekly settlements above 337.91 will keep the buy signal intact. Expecting 384.29, this April 22 pullback high over the next week or two by the end of the year with present volatility, 414.49, that November 21 high. And yes, possibly within 3 to 5 months, could certainly take longer. 500.46 remains our big picture objective now above 337.91. And so let's take a look kind of at the day chart here. Once again, I've got 337.70. The zone for buying long-term begins at 341.28, as I mentioned a moment ago, 1% above 337.91. But the channel top on the daily chart is 338.46, and it's 337.91 on the weekly chart. And I really don't want to sell this market in terms of dumping a long position that I may have recently established unless we close today below 337.70. Breaking 337. Yes, breaking 337.70 is also a sign of weakness, and we could potentially, especially if we open much lower, and especially if we open below 337.70, 311.15 is in reach today with presently still heightened volatility. 311.15 able to contain daily selling pressures, and this is a 2-week channel bottom roughly. We may bottom out here through the rest of the week. I just want to make that point. I'm reluctant to buy it aggressively because of the violation of the long-term support level that now exists at 338.46 on the daily chart. But nonetheless, we could spike out of here and within several days back above the upper 330s. And as I say, if we close the week above 337.91, a buy signal remains firmly intact. Let's work up a bit here today. We do have 350 even. That is the previous high settlement price a couple of weeks ago. I see that as a soft intraday level. Call it a pivot point, perhaps. If we break 350, we could fall into the upper 330s today. Bullish momentum, though, is certainly intact following last Friday's clear signal above 338.86. To the upside, I've got 368.83. And so holding above 350 even will keep 368.83 in reach today. Now, we have that as a session containment level. It may contain daily buying pressures today, but I don't want to encourage aggressive selling now, fresh on the heels of that long-term buy signal that played out last Friday above the upper 330s. If we happen to push through 368.83 today, that 384.29 April 22 high in reach today, where we could place a daily high. And once again, we go back, that's a significant high that the market put out and then fell away, for the rest of the year. And so, yes, if we push through 368.83, 384.29 in reach today, where we could place a daily high. If we close above 384.29, I think by Friday's close, we could then reach 414.49. where we could top out. That's a double top potential here through the rest of the year. We could fall away from 414.49 and fall back into the upper 330s within 3 to 5 weeks or so of doing that. So if you're a 2 to 3, 3 to 5 week swing trader, you're essentially buying the upper 330s and holding out for the mid 410s, 414.49, where profits can be taken. And if you like playing both sides of the market, as we're testing 414.49, you can dump your long positions and consider, for instance, reaching for 338, 340 strike out of the money puts that don't expire for at least 6-8 weeks on this potential 3 to 5 week downside play. Yes, closing above 414.49 is considered a show of strength as we move into the first quarter, 500.49, then likely within 2 to 3 months of closing above 414.49. Back to the downside here today. Of course, we've got 338.46 and 337.70 is, 338.46 is the channel top, but 330, that's the wrong number again. Hold on a second. 337.70. My apologies on the mistype. Closing below 337.70 indicates 311.15 within a day or two with present volatility. So that is a 3 to 5 day swing trade. I could see your 3 to 5 day swing trade, 3 to 5 day swing traders right here, buying the upper 330s, holding out for 384.29. Selling a settlement below 137.70, perhaps, but this is more of a 1 to 2 day swing trade. 311.15, I think 3 to 5 day swing traders can have at 311.15. Now, if by midweek we close below 311.15, this 276.81 to 286.37 region becomes in reach by the end of next week. We don't show that channel bottom here, but it's just more of another 3 to 5 day play. I will say, as I step into the kind of the 2 to 3 week downside play, let's just simplify it and say that if we settle the week Friday below 337.91, even if we do not violate 311.15, but merely close the week below 337.91, I think you can anticipate the mid 270s to mid 280s as a 2 to 3, 3 to 5 week objective where we could bottom out not only through the rest of the year, but well into the first quarter and round up from here. By one measure, this rising 1/3 speed line at 276.81 tells us that holding above it maintains the sort of bullish momentum longer term over the last 2 years following the buy signal that occurred last week above the 337.91 weekly channel top. Is there anything else to say? I don't think so. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. We put out 2 stock picks last week that are still fresh and relevant. Mara Holdings, Upstart Holdings, both are on the precipice of meaningful gains, and we show you the conditions for entering a trade and for establishing a legitimate buy signal on both. I'm going to leave it at that. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, with Tuesday's Tesla report, and you have a great evening.